All right, my friends. This is merely a test. How y'all doing? I'm working on some artwork tonight, just for giggles. Trying to practice for an upcoming documentary that I'm going to be shooting where I will be doing a lot of painting. So I figured I would go ahead and turn on the live stream and see, first off, if it sounds good and if it looks good. Make sure my cameras are all behaving. I only have one camera for this tonight, but I'm going to open this up here on my phone. Hopefully. There it is. Totally the wrong name. Hopefully. There it is. Ah, sounds awesome. And looks good. So maybe I'll do a little sketching for a little bit and then I will disappear off the grid. Unfortunately, my reference computer is literally factory resetting, and I'm not kidding. So my reference photo for this cute little guy is missing entirely. So I'm just gonna go with my gut for right now. Design what I can. And starting off with, this was an old canvas that I had something else painted on, and decided that I would go ahead and cover it with something else. So hopefully I can do something fun here. And the theory would be that I would oil paint this. Now, it's just a theory. Like I said, I'm kind of grasping at straws a little bit. Just wanted to paint. And I'm not really enjoying this whole setup. If I was doing this with my with like a lap board or something, I'd prefer it more. This is just because I intend to oil paint this for giggles, and so just kind of going with this. But I will maybe try to set up a 45-degree angle table or something at some point. If I'm going to be doing more of this, I wouldn't mind doing this kind of sketching a little differently. So just got some very basic tools for what I'm trying to do here. This is a wedge brush, if you will. You can go to softart.com/pats for this. SOFFT. These are really cool. And you can buy the little pads. And they're kind of like makeup sponges. And then you can shape a little bit. And I really like the fact that I can shape white on black. That's much more my style and preference. My goal here is to keep this super dark. I want this really saturated down here. So I do have a little Mono Zero eraser here. These are really, really cool, made by Tombow. And I can just come in here and erase what I don't want to be in light. So now this is a pretty hard canvas, so that absolutely can spoil things, and maybe a kneaded eraser would be a better fit, which actually I have over here, so I should grab that while my brain is thinking about it. If anyone is in the chat room, you can say hello. Admittedly, the computer screen that I would need to look at to see your comments is behind me, but I will turn around and check on occasion. And I'm not saying I'm going to be here very long. If I can get everything to play nice here in a few minutes, then I should be able to see your messages a little bit easier. But like I said, literally factory resetting the computer that I need to see your comments. But I figured I'd give it a shot. Any hoozles. So things are good. How you doing? Glad to hear it. I'm enjoying I'm enjoying being busy. And it's just a weird time for me right now because we're in a moment where we have an exciting goal that's bigger than I can ever imagine for me, and it's mine. It's not someone else's project or anything. I'm not on someone else's team trying to make their thing a reality. Um, I have a team surrounding me that's giving me a reality, and it's my job to kind of possibly lead this team into something exciting. And it will be important for me to learn how to be more oriented in my painting. Hoping to do that a lot more often here. So, very cool to see a few people actually showing up here. I'm kind of surprised some folks are popping in. I need to change the title of this though, because this is certainly not what we're doing right now. Let's do blocking in for oil painting live. Boom. And I should probably change my description too. Okay. Blocking in a character to practice oil painting on. So, boosh. That way, I have done my best to properly label this. That way people don't disappear. Okay. Yeah, that kneaded eraser is doing its job. So I'm happy about that. Kind of like that I can turn around behind me and look at my camera and see what you guys are seeing. I definitely like that because it's kind of showing me the wide angle of what I'm doing here. Let me kind of see things a little differently. It is amazing how, even though that's blended, it doesn't look blended in camera. Contrast is such a fickle thing. Such a fickle thing. So cool though. If I think about it, if I get this to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to start painting, then I may try to quickly put a dot of sealant on this just to hold it, but we'll see. For those wondering what I've been up to and why there haven't been any new caricature videos, I haven't had any gigs. We're getting into slow season. Winter is a slow time for events and things in the north. So winter has arrived. It's not as cold as we expected it would be, which is actually kind of spooky, because then that means winter is going to be even tougher and push out the fun event season where people would be hiring for caricatures. So my attention for the past month or so, since my previous, I think my last one was my trip out to Wyoming. Oh, no. I went to Fairmont Hot Springs. I think that one was my most recent one. My business since then has just been focusing on video work for my clients and focusing on my own personal project. So, but times are tight. Considering the idea of finding some part-time work. Unless I can get some more work in through the business, it will probably be time to, unfortunately, consider looking for another opportunity to pay some bills. Not my favorite choice, but I'm waiting just a little bit longer because there's still some stuff in the ether that and that's my way of, when I say still stuff in the ether, that's kind of like there's just still stuff in the wing that I want to make sure before I decide to fully, and the word is not give up per se, but before I decide to put down my full-time efforts and go, okay, now I need to invest in someone else's business so I can pay my bills. That's a hard thing to do, but taking care of my family comes first. So waiting just a little bit longer. I'm sure when we get to that point, wifey and I will have a conversation and it will be time. And we've kind of gotten there to an extent, but there's a little bit more room still, I think, just slightly. So, resetting PC, 53% done. I don't think you guys could see this, but if I turn this way, resetting this PC, and then I got my other computer going over here with the live stream. So, hopefully this one's working out okay. It looks and sounds like it is. It's kind of funny because on that same computer, I'm actually got some Minecraft playthrough videos going on that I'm watching too. So, got that on in the background. Not sure if you can hear that through my microphone, but the goal would be that I would hope not. That way I can have some minor entertainment for myself while I hopefully entertain you. I don't know how much of a labor of love to put into this, especially with no reference for what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm a little torn on how far to take this before I try to paint it. Because I'm not someone who likes to do blocking in. I just like to paint. So there's only so much I personally want to try to do. I remember that this guy was like in serious highlight, so everything on the top of his head was pretty blinding. And the other thing is I was pulling reference from an image on Pinterest, so it would be my desire that it doesn't look the same, if I can help it, as the reference. Because other people have probably done that same painting. And while there's nothing wrong in doing that per se, and using someone else's photo as a reference, it better not look like it by the time you're done. For the main reason of it needs to be original, and if everyone's painted the same thing, then you're not going to have any interest in it. So it's kind of important to find your own thing that you can put into things to make it yours. Have a million reference photos from a million different people that you love, from a million different photographers. Just make sure by the time you're done that you've honored them by not just copying and pasting what they had, you know? All right. Let's see. One of the things I would contemplate doing is doing my usual character design, where instead of it being him in this, maybe I would actually put him in some clothes. I do enjoy doing that a lot, and like kind of getting my characters literally in character. Like, maybe if we went like this. And let's go something like that. Okay. And then to make sure that that collar is standing off the shirt, I can add some shadow under this collar. That's going to make it pop off of the shirt. Kind of like that. And then if we give him a little sleeve here. Actually, I can kind of see a bit of a vintage vibe where it'd be kind of cool if it was like a little kid playing outdoors, kind of like holding a magnifying glass or something, or telescope. What are the cool telescopes? The ones that pirates would have used. Is that a telescope? Something of that nature. And then you could kind of wrap his hand around it like that. That looks like a beer bottle. That's probably not the look I'm going for, but with a little bit of attention, it would do something kind of cool. And then could have him in shorts. I always prefer pants, but considering that, we'll see. I don't know. If we kind of go for a Huck Finn sort of vibe, that could be kind of fun. Maybe give it a Middle Earth kind of look. So if his knee is here, and his foot was to turn inward. And I mean, Frog's got big feet, so that could come down here. But if I was to frame this, I don't want to go too low. So it'd make more sense maybe to, instead of that, we would send the leg this way with the foot coming back and grabbing here. That looks kind of fun. I like that. And then this leg, doing exactly as it is, then it could come down here and could ride along the stick, kind of like that. I like that. That's really fun. Okay. I like that. And then this one can come up here. And that could be like his wrist. And then I can follow through with kind of the original thought I had there. Kind of like he's reaching up and over to grab that twig that he's on. We can send this up here like this. Okay. Send that down like that. And then I'll figure that out in a second. I do like that. That's fun. A fun little design. I'm going to try and scoot you guys closer to it here for a minute. Just testing how this is going to work, because I'm actually going to be recording a lot of stuff like this. And so I'm trying to just get used to how it feels, both to live stream again and also to think through this video side of capturing art. Okay. Kind of like it to show that stretch in the shirt. Just a little bit of pull here as it like pulls against his body there, because it's reaching up kind of like that. And then his arm would come to about here. And then unfortunately that would kind of alter the lower arm. So let me erase some of this. Fun little design though. I always laugh because I always do nonsense like this. This is when I go, I mean, like I was just at the C.M. Russell Museum here in Great Falls. Incredible artist. And went and looked at some of his work yesterday, I think. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And while I was there, I was just enamored with all of his work and realized how little I knew about him, which is really cool. I like that my assumptions about him, some of them were wrong. And it's very, very inspiring to go and see everything he had that he brought to the table. And kind of laugh because some of the stuff he brought to the table is stuff that I bring to the table now. They're like, a man who can learn how to do all these different styles and forms and things, that's very rare. And I'm like, I do that all the time. So, and it's not a brag thing. It's just kind of like, wow, that is still needed in, our communities. That is still a desirable thing, to be able to learn a skill and learn multiple skills, where you hear people say, focus on one thing, which is definitely true. Definitely has its place, but then you sit there and you go, well, what if there's more to me than that? What if I can do so much more, or be so much more, if I learn all these different aspects? So it's very cool to see his stuff. And then see how he drew scenes and things. And so instead of a single character, it would be a single character in this ginormous scene of stuff, and absolutely beautiful. And then it's like, okay, you can't just stop at the individual characters like I've always done, because I'm just such a character artist, and it can go so much further than that. So it's something I need to work on. But in the same breath, this kind of art, unless you have a game plan, doesn't quite fit in our world the way it used to. AI has come through and done some rather impressive damage to the art world. And we all saw it coming, it's no surprise. But it really does, if you're like me, it really does just make you just kind of stop in your tracks and go, is it worth it? Is it worth putting in this time for something I could probably just make a prompt for and get the same result that everyone else is going to be able to do at home now, instead of hiring a special individual with a special talent to create something that has been in your heart, or that you've really connected with this one artist? Is it still worth it? And it is. But you're reaching, we were always reaching for people with positions of power and money and things like that. That was always a thing. That never changed. But with AI now, the people in the world who would still hire us, but work at a cheaper value, they've disappeared. We've lost half of our audience and half of our money, because the people who would hire us to create graphics and things like that, well, now they can just go have those graphics created through AI. So there's no need for hiring someone. So now we need to focus our attention on the big name people with lots of money, and hopefully we can still give them something that they didn't know that they wanted in the long run, and it would be an investment for them, because they're getting artwork that has value. It's literally an investment in your home and your office space and whatever. And yes, it can have a return. It really does depend. And of course, it has its return of helping you find joy every time you look at the piece too. There's that sentimental value that's huge. But still, AI just sliced artists at the knees and made us lose, a good half of our clientele. I mean, I don't have commissions anymore. I have wedding gigs, I have event gigs, and that's about it. Big difference from when I was daily doing commissions. And I think it's kind of a good thing I took a break from it. From a business standpoint, that was the worst thing I could have done. But in the same breath, if I had solidified my career, which I honestly thought I had, in doing commissions and artwork for people, well, I felt the death of my career far less painfully than other artists have, because I had already run. I had already escaped. So unfortunate that that's the truth, but that was the truth, and it is the truth. So, the world is a messy place. It ain't perfect, that's for sure. But we got this. Just got to keep going. Here we go. Kind of getting that foot worked out there. I like how this leg goes all the way over and then comes back around to the front again. Okay. Well, honestly, this is a fun little test. I don't know if I'm going to stick to it much longer because this is just seeing how well this works. If you are enjoying it, though, hit that like button for me, because when I do end this, I will be looking to see if anyone showed any attention to it. And that would certainly make me want to come back and do a little extra. You know what? Maybe instead of this guy, what I might do instead is do a knapsack over his shoulder. A little stick with a fun little knapsack. Kind of like he's looking into the future of what he wants to become, kind of a thing. That'd be fun. I like that. A little twig, a little leaf on it. That'd be fun. I like that idea especially. Thank you for the like. I see that. That's awesome. Wow, when it says I don't actually have anybody watching right yet now, and yet still someone hits that like button, thank you. It's lying to me. I look and I see that it says that no one's here, and yet someone must be here to hit that like button, so thank you. I like this idea. This is cute. All right, let's go ahead and kind of get that tied off. Oh man, that is fun. That's got a nice feeling to it. Okay, I know you guys might not be able to see it as well. Somewhere around here, I got a 28mm lens. Let me replace this. And you guys can see this a little wider as I work on it. Give you a little extra taste of this in a wider spectrum. So let me switch lenses here. A little bright. And we'll click this guy on here. And you should get a pretty different vantage point. There we go. So this is my 28 f2.8. Really cool lens. Both vintage lenses. So we were just using this guy. This is a 50mm 1 point, I don't know what, 1.4. All right. Now I can keep fleshing this out just a bit more. So I kind of like the idea of this coming down here. And I like that feeling of it wrapping around and holding to the branch. I think that's fun. All right. And yeah, but business has definitely been slow. So that's why you haven't seen any new videos here. I really did enjoy making those documentaries though. So that certainly will not be the last. whenever I get those new gigs. I know that making my videos can be very beneficial to be bringing in more of my clientele and to show people how much fun we have when I go and I do an event. So I have no intention of stopping. And frankly, I'm trying to get more camera gear and more stuff put together so that I can do more professional style stuff like that and take it even further. So I don't know how far I'll take it, but I definitely just want to keep going. There we go. Ah, that's so much fun. I think he looks cute. Very fun little design. I haven't considered a backdrop, honestly. I was going to go for a pretty blurry background in whatever I did. I was thinking maybe some kind of swamp area kind of vibe. So I came up from the swamp.